What if your waste strategy could be as data-driven as your marketing plan? What if operations, sustainability, and AI could all work together, not just to clean up the planet, but to clean up inefficiencies across your business? Today on Lead with AI, I'm joined by Sandeep Sankarankutty, VP of Operations at RTS, Recycle Track Systems. It's a company redefining what it means to manage waste in a digital world. With over a decade of experience launching tech driven ventures across finance, pharma, and consumer industries, Sandeep brings a unique mix of operational depth and entrepreneurial drive. From real time pickup tracking to enterprise waste analytics to finding out if contamination has hit your bin, RTS isn't just hauling trash, it's building the infrastructure for a more circular economy, powered by data, AI, and driven by purpose. If you care about innovation that's grounded in impact, this one's for you. Let's get into it. Welcome to Lead with AI. I'm Dr. Tamara Nall. In each episode, we will take you behind the scenes with visionary leaders shaping the future of AI across public and private sectors. Join us as we explore groundbreaking projects and innovations that are transforming industries and making a real impact on people's lives. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. It is Dr. Tamara Nall. I am your host for Lead with AI podcast, and I am so excited. Today we have Sandeep Sankarankutty, who is the VP of Operations of Recycle Track Systems. Hi, Sandeep. How are you?
Hi, Tamara. Really excited to be here, and thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Let's get into it because the waste is involved with everyone. And so, first of all, though, tell us a little bit about yourself and who are you at your core. You know, we believe that every great AI product starts with a deeper vision. So talk to us about the beginnings and who you are and the company.
Yeah, happy to. It's been a really great story. I helped start the company. So I was employee number one.
Oh, wow.
We helped start the company in 2015, so about 10 years old. And I've always been passionate about startups. And it just so happens that, you know, when I was getting into and interested in startups, we were looking for things that were outside of social media and, you know, internet startups. And the iPhone was just coming to light as like a real viable tool. So imagine the world of like Uber starting to catch fire and people really adapting like geolocation technologies. So that's the world that we started the company in. And our goal was to really solve this problem of like electronic waste recycling and organics recycling and seeing how we can bring some transparency into that world. Because at this point, a lot of folks were talking about it, but the numbers just weren't adding up. So we decided to, you know, dive in, learn the industry, develop technology to support the businesses and the customers in addressing those needs.
Mm-hmm. And why waste versus, you know, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of things that you could have started?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think for us, it was this combination of technology meeting the real world.
Okay.
And that challenge was really fascinating to us. And then the other big aspect of this, whenever you're starting a company, you have to start thinking about, you know, how big is this market opportunity and how big is this space that I'm playing in? And then are the tides of, you know, legislation and society turning in that manner? And for us, the answers to that was yes, right? Like there was an increase in sustainability goals and needs demanded by the public. Corporates were starting to really focus in on that. And then the market itself is something that, you know, was not necessarily, they're open to technology, but it's still very much a people-driven business. It's very community-focused, community-oriented. So understanding those sensitivities while applying a technical lens to it was like what really drew us in.
Got it. Okay. And then in terms of the history, the decade-long history of the company, what's the jaw-dropping moment when people first experience your product, which is powered by AI, and realize, whoa, this changes everything?
Yeah, there's been actually a few of it for
Okay.
us, right? So from when we started the business and seeing our trucks, making their way around the city and picking up and collecting the organics, recycling, and trash, and then making their way to the farms to turn into compost. I thought that was something that level of transparency just didn't exist in the industry
Okay.
at the customer level. So I think that was one of the things that really, like, we were very happy that we were able to set that in motion, but our customers were also really happy because as these sustainability teams were being developed, they finally had full transparency into kind of what was happening end to end. So that was a really big win. And as the technology has advanced, like, we've continued to invest everywhere into other IoT devices, and this new wave of AI allows us and enables us to connect our IoT devices into that holistic framework that we've created. So we have this device called a Pello sensor. It gets installed in garbage bins, not like the one in the back here, but something bigger, and we can tell like what sort of waste is going in there. Is there contamination?
Oh, wow.
Is there Yeah, no, it's great. It is insights that no facilities managers or no sustainability teams have ever had before. But we're able to do a lot with that because it's all data, and because of the data that we gather, we're able to really optimize routing as well as educate folks on site on how to do this properly so they can like really attain their sustainability goals. And then we round all of that out with really robust reporting that the teams can use. So it's been really great for us, and there's technology at every step of that process for us.
Amazing. And when you say that you have this Pello system, is what type of customers are using this?
It could be we're a commercial waste management business, right? So we do have some residential as well, but it's our commercial customers that really care about it. Um, you know, People often think about waste as something that just happens magically, and I did too, right? It's not anyone's fault, but it usually happens kind of early in the mornings, late at nights, and people aren't really aware of the logistics that goes into transporting refuse across the city, especially in a large area like any of the urban areas. I'm in New York, and DSNY has one of the largest fleets of trucks and budgets, out of any city organization. But there's a reason we're servicing 8 million people,
Right.
right? And so those are our customers. Our customers range from big sports stadiums that really
Okay.
want their fans to recycle, Citi Field where the Mets play. We work with the Ravens and the Eagles, and so those customers have a fan engagement piece of it as well as sustainability goals, and we facilitate the fan engagement piece of recycling as well with our cycle vending machines, where you can actually take the cans and bottles that you're using at the stadium and go return them, and you'll get a voucher to win free tickets or free merch.
Oh,
And so it's a really great way to engage with your audience.
got it. Now, if let's say I'm listening to this podcast and I work in facilities for a large commercial company, those that you've described have been around sports. Are there other industries that work well, or does it work best if we can have some kind of fan cult incentive programs? Or what if I'm just a large commercial construction site manager and
Yeah,
we have that? Would I work with you too?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our other customers range from grocery chains
Okay.
to large franchises,
Okay.
you know, the Burger Kings of the world, and they all have we meet their needs at different levels, right? And so a lot of our large portfolio commercial customers, they could be commercial real estate portfolios, as well. we're able to distill and reduce the amount of effort that it takes for them to manage a portfolio of that size. That's like a really big superpower for us. We're able to do that in a way where they have access to all the data that they need to manage the sites. The people on the ground running the buildings are able to get their jobs done quicker because of the way they can communicate with us. And then on the back end, we really facilitate that orchestration with all of the various haulers across the country. So we're not just talking about New York City here. We're talking about the entire U.S. and Canada. So
Okay.
you can have a portfolio of businesses and sites across North America, and you can have a single point of contact at RTS to help you manage that.
Okay, great. Because I was going to ask that. I wanted to see whether or not it was outside of the New York state in tri-state area. You clear that up. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
Now, if I wanted to open up the hood and look at the brain of your technology, for instance, you said, someone could put something in a bin and can sense that there's contamination. Like, how does that work? How's this brain working?
That's great. I think there's a couple of things that's happened. Like we have to, as like a waste management company, we have to shift with kind of the demands of our consumers and our customers. And so all the products and services that we roll out really adapt to that. And a really good example of that is, as you've seen, like the rise of Amazon or the rise of like working from home, you've seen kind of the way that people interact with their products like change, and we have to adapt to that. So during the pandemic and even now, like you see tremendous amounts of cardboard. And cardboard is one of these products that's highly recyclable. So we want to be able to, educate people and capture that and take that out of the traditional waste stream, because there's a lot of value to it.
Right.
And then and so like what we do is like the Pello sensors, for example, like we use the Pello sensors to for commercial sites, and we'll see if there's a bin that is like stuffed with cardboard. Then all of a sudden we see traditional waste go on top of it. That entire cardboard pile is now ruined, right? And so it forces us to say, okay, well, there needs to be some education that needs to happen here. Let's go down the chain, get some regional training. Let's educate our folks.
Right.
And then we always try to tie it back to like a business impact, right?
Yes.
Like, hey guys, like if you're able to do this, we may be able to reduce the number of pickups that you truly need. Again, like driving down truck emissions, right? Unnecessary driving, and all these small incentives and changes to the way you approach waste management really adds up, right?
Okay. All right. Amazing. And talk to me about like a real world example. You started the company. It was part of your idea. What's an example of a benefit that a customer has received where you got chills? Like you jumped up, you did your victory dance. If you want to show us what that looks like, you can do that too. But where you were like, you know what? This is why I started this company. This is why I did it, because of this type of impact. Give us something that we can touch, something tangible.
Yeah, I think for me, it really has to be that like end-to-end experience where as a customer, like you get to experience that you just onboarded. Imagine you just onboarded onto RTS. We've installed all these sensors in your bins, and all of a sudden you run into maybe a hiccup. But you actually we're already aware of the hiccup, right? Because of the cameras and sensors, whether it's a missed pickup or contamination or some sort of, maybe it could even be a dumpster fire, a literal dumpster fire.
Okay.
And so we can get ahead of that. And that magic of, opening up your inbox or getting a text from us saying, hey, we noticed that there's something wrong here and this is what's happening. We're going to take care of it. We're on it. We'll keep you updated. Like when that happened, that's the magic. You just go, wow, it went from a reactive industry where people like wake up, look out the store and say, oh, my trash hasn't been picked up or there's some issue, into a proactive industry. And I think that's really powerful. It's a great customer experience. And it also is a great experience as someone that is managing our customers on our operation side, right?
Right.
Your day doesn't start out with stress. Your day is like proactive, and I understand how I'm going to help my customers.
Okay, that's amazing. Now, particularly when you think about the sensors, the cameras, contamination, ruined waste that could have been recycled,
Yeah.
there is a lot of ethics that's involved with how that's set up, how that runs. Talk to us about how you deal with those ethical crossroads with the powerful tool that you're working with.
As AI kind of becomes more ingrained in touching all the, I guess, like the transfer points for our IoT devices into our operations, like one of the things that we always keep in mind is that waste and waste management, it's a people business. It's a community business. There's someone at the end that's a stakeholder that really has an issue that needs to be serviced. So we always try to keep like that in mind. And then on top of that is, I don't think we'll ever just replace like communication with our customers with AI, right? That's not the goal. The goal is to use AI to provide more transparency and allow us to do more with less, right? Like, so we have more data, we can give you better reporting, right? We could do it faster. We can get your service needs met faster.
Right.
And so keeping that sort of like mentality is really important to us. And then from the internal side, like keeping a human in the loop for all of these interactions also really matters. I
Yes.
spend a lot of time thinking about, like low level, repetitive, menial tasks,
Yes.
because like deterministic is like the right word, right? Like deterministic tasks where you can free up resources to do more strategic, more creative, more complex problem solving. And I think that's what really excites me.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Now let's think about the future. Let's say 5 years from now, 2030. What does the future powered by your tech, what does that feel like to the everyday person?
Yeah, I think about when I think about this, I think about my kids. I think about them coming home from school and teaching and talking to me about the recycling lesson that they just did. And, they're always like, Papa, like, that's a glass bottle and plastic. These are recyclables. And in 2030, what I see is us moving incrementally closer to a world where, the realities of recycling become more tangible, right? Because even I think there was a New York Times article a couple of weeks ago that talks about how complicated that whole ecosystem is and how like we're still nowhere near where we want to be as a society. And so everyone has this perception in their mind that they're doing more with recycling than what's actually happening. We're hoping that with our technology, we create the transparency, we educate people, and we force the conversations. And then we can tie it to real business results, which ideally is a win for everyone.
Right. Yo, absolutely. Now, I always like to have a CTA and make us believers. So again, our listeners are here. Either they don't have a partner that they work with to recycle, etc., or they do, but they're not getting the type of benefits and kind of AI powered analysis that they need or analytics that they need. Talk to us about what's the one thing that person who's like, I should try them out. What can they try, build, or explore this week to get a taste of your AI magic?
I would say, if you're a sports fan, especially, get out of the house, go to a baseball game, especially if you're in New York, go to Citi Field
Okay.
and go check out our cycle machines, and then see like the work that we've done throughout the stadium, including signage, customizing bins, and then if you can get a sneak peek at the back where all the trash is collected, you'll see our sensors. And
do that without getting arrested.
yeah, don't break any laws while doing it. But if you want to see that real tangible feel, like think about a stadium of 30,000 people that are kind of being educated in recycling. And then for Citi Field specifically, when we started servicing them, we were able to increase their diversion rates by 55%. And so it's a lot of work that goes into it. So if you really want to feel it, I encourage that.
And diversion rate, explain that for us, for those of us who don't know.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry. Sometimes I get all caught up in jargon. Diversion rate is how much of the materials that you're collecting at a site ends up at landfill or diverted away from landfill into recycling facilities and organics facilities.
Oh, 55%, that's huge. That's amazing. Yeah. That really, really makes a difference. That's amazing. So we talked about this before. I always have this one question, which I call from one genius to another. So our last guest has a question for you, Sandeep.
Sure.
That question is, do you think we will ever get to a point where the people who are building AI models would not understand the models themselves?
I think it's inevitable.
Yeah.
I think everything that we're seeing, how fast we're progressing in the capabilities and building the models, it is inevitable. I mean, realistically, a lot of the models in the way they think today, people are not quite sure how they get to the answers. But I do have a more hopeful view of this, which is as we adapt and advance our model creation and capabilities, we're also going to build tools that help us gain the insights into how the model is working. And people that are way more focused on this are working on this. And I truly believe we're going to be able to, harness the power of AI in a way that benefits humanity.
Amazing. Okay. So bonus rapid fire. Most overrated tech trend?
It has to be VR. It has to be VR. I mean, I've tried it. It's great. It's a lot of fun. But I don't think anyone really wants to sit around with something covering their face for hours at a time.
Okay. Most underhyped AI breakthrough?
I don't know if this is a breakthrough anymore, but it has to be the self-supervised learning, using, where people are really focused on cleaning large, unlabeled data sets. I think as that gets better, a lot of the data challenges that we face around AI will start to dissipate.
Okay. Perfect. One book everyone should read on the future.
I spent a lot of time thinking about business. and so the book for me is Competing in the Age of AI.
Okay.
It's a really great book for you to kind of dig into what it means to be a company that's at the forefront of AI. And how traditional companies may have blind spots because they're set in their legacy ways. And really, there is a significant transformation happening.
Okay. The boldest AI prediction you believe?
A lot of people have said this, and I do believe it because I spent a lot of time thinking about it, is that 30% or more of the back end, low-hanging fruit office tasks are going to go to agentic systems. And I don't think about that as a bad thing. I think about that as a really positive thing to unlock, the opportunity for people to, spend time on things that really matter, not just to you personally, but professionally and the business. I think, if you extrapolate that out a bit, you're kind of at the point where it doesn't matter at what rung of the hierarchy you are, you have to kind of take ownership for your own career and keep kind of finding value and pushing it forward.
Okay, love that. So I really enjoyed this conversation, particularly knowing that the world is a safer place because you'll let us know if anything around me is contaminated.
Yeah, love it.
Email or a text. I really appreciate that. Particularly as much as I travel and all these commercial buildings and sites that I have to go to. So that's good. But how can we get in contact with you if we're thinking about changing our vendor, implementing and finding a recycle partner? How can we get in contact with you?
Yeah, I mean, you can email us at info@rts.com if you want commercial interest or if there's commercial needs that we can support you with. And then if you want to get in touch with me personally, LinkedIn is always a great source. You just search for my last name. I don't believe there are too many Sankarankutties.
Yes, absolutely. Sankarankuty.
Yep, that's it.
Sandeep, thank you so much for this conversation. I love it. I love when we're taking traditional, what some people would figure out old industries and making them anew. And what you and the team are doing is absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciated it. I love the conversation. Thanks, Dr. Nall.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in to Lead with AI. I'll see you next time. as we continue exploring the cutting-edge innovations shaping AI across the public and private sectors. Until then, keep leading with AI.